Boom, boom, boom. Man, I love that. I love that interlude. I love everything about this show. Welcome back to App Stupid. It's your boy Big Vern. Final spot of the day. We had a lot of fun talking about Mac Brown being the oldest coach in college football. We also talked some Big Blue Nation basketball. Kentucky fans got to be encouraged about that. Also talked about an unfortunate situation with Sam Williams, him being gone for the year with a torn ACL in training camp for Dallas. Big problems in Big D. I'm going to close this out right now. Barry Switzer. Now, he believes Sanders will eventually leave Colorado. And this is out of Fox Sports and Ryan Gatos. So let's just go ahead and get into it because I think he's right. And he said the quiet part out loud, which, people are going to sit there and, wow, you said this about Coach Deon and blah, blah, blah. Look. That's the only reason I hate to even say anything about Deon Sanders, because however you feel about Deon, it's going to be really divisive. You can say, hey, look, that's a lot of press for a team that was 4-8. They really didn't finish anything in the Pac-12. Now you're in the Big 12. I don't think that you're better than Oklahoma. I don't think that you're better than Texas Tech. You may even lose to Iowa. Again, these are just football takes. That's it. You haven't said anything personally about him. You haven't denigrated him or his family. But somehow or another, any criticism of Deon Sanders is below the belt. And when you keep it all football and you keep it on the field, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's dumb. Anyway. Barry Switzer was on a podcast and he was talking about Deon Sanders, and he said Deon is going to go with what fits Deon. I wouldn't say he's tied to Colorado. He is going to try and establish himself there, but Deon is going to go with what fits Deon. And I understand that. All coaches do that. I didn't when I was at Oklahoma. Hell, I had one of the best jobs in the country when I was here in the 70s and 80s. I wasn't going anywhere. I wish they paid me more, but it was different times in a different era. End quote. And he's totally right. And I even questioned Deon Sanders waiting a year, playing it out down in Jackson State, and then going to interview and get that job at Colorado. Because in the insider circle, it was down to either Colorado or Louisville. But then Louisville wanted to go ahead and get people coming back down to the stadium. So they bought in a prodigal son, which was Jeff Brom, who played his college football at Louisville and then had various stints as a coordinator and everything around the program. They bought him back from Purdue. So then Colorado won out. But make no mistake, the year before Deon took that job, they only won one game. He could have had that job going way into it. He didn't need to stay at Jackson State another year. But again, like Switzer is saying, that Deon is going to go for the flash. Deon is going to be a celebrity of some sorts. He wants to bring his circus to town. He's establishing himself at Colorado. There's nothing wrong with that. Coaches do that all day long. That's not an unfair criticism. But when you look at Colorado, the weather is bad. There's no beach. Summer times are pretty cool. The winter is atrocious. And this is what you signed up for. So, like I said, shout out to Barry Switzer for actually saying what all of us were thinking, because a lot of people think, once his kid and some more kids that are really close to Deon, once they go and graduate and go to the NFL, a lot of people are silently thinking that Deon is going to jump to the NFL. But I don't think Deon has any. He doesn't really want that. He don't want any parts of that. We'll get into more of this story when we come back from a quick 20 from an unofficial sponsor of the show. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Yes. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. McDonald's. I'm loving it. Order online, download the app, or visit the good people at your local McDonald's. McDonald's. I'm loving it. When we last left off, Barry Switzer was saying Deon will move. He's going to move on from Colorado because there's nothing to keep him there. And it's all good because every coach does this. And Sanders will likely be in the rumor mill for the Cowboys head coaching job once the NFL 2024 season ends. His son Shador and Silo will likely enter the NFL draft after the college football season, which can make the professional jump even more enticing. I don't know if I'm buying that because Coach Prime told Robert Griffin III in January that he doesn't want to coach in the pros. And that's where I kept saying to people, hey, look, he told RG3 he's not going to go ahead and coach in the pros. He was on record of saying that. Now, I'll be honest with you, for a guy who made a song, Must Be the Money, if they throw a check big enough at Deon, he's going to coach in the pros. But Deon said he doesn't want to coach in the pros. He also said that he will dedicate his time to where his kids play pro ball. So who knows where he'll end up. And I lean with Coach Prime and him not coaching the pros when he says, I would never coach pros. You played with guys that was getting a handsome check that didn't want to play. How am I going to handle that as a coach? He said I can regulate that in college. At the next level, come on, man. These cats don't even want to practice no more. End quote. So I take him at his word there. I take him at his word. And what he's saying is what I've always said. In college, you can go ahead and really have all of the power when it comes to standing over these kids. So when people start talking to me about this whole Nick Saban bullshit, I'm just like, look, bro, that dude was manipulating a system where Alabama could lock up talent. And I documented that. But when it changed and it was everybody had the same weaponry across the board, then in 2022, oh yeah, I can't win like this. Oh, this isn't college as I recognize it. Why? Because it's a fair fight. But now it's 1v1 instead of now you have all of the ammo. You went out and hired former head coaches to be assistants. But the moment now that it is very player friendly, for better or for worse, now you can't win. All of a sudden, it's not fun anymore. All of a sudden, you can't keep doing this. Bro, he's a facade. He's a fake and he's a phony. At least Deon is telling you right up front, in college, we have the upper hand. Kids, we can go ahead and get them to dial in and focus in because it's less of an incentive. As the pros, if I'm making $216 million and this dude is just yelling at me, I'm looking at him like he's a freaking moron. Like, what? Bro, you do know all I have to do is call up the owner and you're out of here. How can you coach in that environment? And Deon, like I said, credit to him, he's like, yo, I know how that is because I once was in that. So when people think that he's going to leave for a pro job, no, it's not going to be him. That's not going to be him. He wants to control the atmosphere around him. And so college fits his persona. Now, just where could he go? We'll talk about that when we come back from a quick 18 from a rap album we're promoting this month. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Yes, rock him in stores right now. God Network. I have some favorites on the LP myself. I like Be Ill with him, Corrupt, and Master Killer. I love The Sign of Seven with Prodigy and X-Rated and Method Man. And, international, Joel Ortiz, Rakim, Coogee Rap. Rakim, God's Network, The Rebirth, in stores now. Get it where you legally consume music, whether it be Apple Music, Google Play, or Spotify. Okay, so when we left off before the break, Coach Prime was saying he wasn't going to coach in the pros. So let's just play devil's advocate. And if he were to leave Colorado, where would he go? Now, I feel he's not going to the Big Ten or the SEC. It's too much of a deep end for him to be in there. And he doesn't want all of those eyes on him. Now, the Big 12 is where he is now. But it's not a primetime worthy established place yet for Deon. It only boils down to two places, Miami and FSU in the ACC. Now, Mike Norvell is the man at FSU. He's either got to move on, go to the NFL and get some sort of opportunity, or he leaves that school for another school. And that's the only way that Deon, who used to play at Florida State in his college years, would actually come back and take that job. Now, Miami coach Mario Cristobal is another story. Now, he's been there since 2022. They were 3-5 in the conference, 5-7 overall, winning 2-5 at home, and on the road they were 3-2. Yeah, that's the first year, and it was rocky to say the least. In 2023, they were 3-5 in the conference, 7-6 overall, 5-2 at home, and 2-3 on the road. So it's turning the page, kinda, for the Canes, but Cristobal isn't bulletproof. Now, he could have a flat season and be on the hot seat come January 2025. We just don't know. And if that was the case, Deon would be well welcomed in Miami. If Deon is in South Beach and he's bringing the circus to South Beach, you talking about the return of Luther Campbell and 2 Live Crew on the sidelines. You talking about more outlaws and at the climate it is right now in college athletics. If you thought Miami in the 80s was over the top, Miami with Deon at the helm in the late 2024, no, God, no. That's what you call a perfect storm. That's what you call a perfect storm. Deon Sanders in Miami, the NIL money pouring in, rappers all, because come on now, who doesn't want to go to Miami? The beach and everything. That is a recipe for a disaster. So shout out to Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer saying it's not a if he leaves, but when he leaves, because it doesn't really suit Deon. He doesn't have anybody there to keep him there. Once his kids move on to the NFL, do you really want to stay in a pack? Do you want to stay in the Big 12, a conference that doesn't have any notoriety, and you're pretty much the belle of the ball? So we'll see how that goes. Look, that's the show. Everybody, I love you. Take it easy. We'll be back Friday. This is Big Vern.